Hey guys, it's TwistedDisaster here, and hopefully I figured out my mic problem. I'm still kind of figuring out my new headset, and I'm sorry that it's been a little weird. Like I said, I don't have the best programs because I'm cheap and I don't have a lot of money, so I'm just kind of working with what I have. Anyway, this is the much promised con horror stories video that I promised I would make. Now, you are currently watching a speed draw, speed paint, whatever you want to call it, of me working on a commission of one of my OCs that a friend of mine was lucky enough to pay me a while ago because he loves this specific character that I made for a group that no longer exists, and she's all beachy and happy and having fun for summer. And I felt, well, hey, that's perfect to throw for this because conventions, most of the time, at least from where I'm from, most of the big convention like season is in the summer months. So, but again, I live in California where we have two weather. We have two types of weather. We have damp and overcasty, or hot, so hot that even children don't play outside because it's too hot. So, I've been going to conventions for many years now, but I honestly, this is only going to be from one specific type of convention. I'm planning on going to other ones, but the convention that I have frequented since early high school, back in my Michi Weeb days, was Anime Expo. And Anime Expo, to my knowledge, is the biggest anime convention in the United States. I could be wrong, but that's what I am led to believe. Well, I've been going since I was 14, so that was around 2007 ish to 2008 ish. Yeah, yeah, that's about right. And when I started going, it was still big. And the first time I went with my family, and my mom and dad were really cool and totally into our weebness because it wasn't just me. My brothers were also into it too. So they bought our entire family, like even for my mom and dad who didn't watch the show. They bought us Naruto, and I'm probably gonna pronounce this terribly, Akutsuki, however you say it, the bad teams like robes, and there was like kid size ones because I had my baby brother with us, and then my middle brother, and then me, and then my parents. And so we didn't all like dress up. We mostly wore the robes, but it was so cool because it was also my first time. I guess you could say like really cosplaying because I'd never done it before, and I plan on doing cosplay again in the future now that I'm older and I know what I'm doing. But cosplay is expensive, especially since I'm a big person. Let's just put it that way. I'm not skinny, so I want to find cosplays that'll fit my body type correctly. I'm not saying cosplay, a fat character, but I am the kind of person where, certain things look good on you and certain characters wear certain things you shouldn't wear. Anyway, going on a tangent here. The whole point of this video is to talk about the horror experiences I've experienced over the few years of going to Anime Expo. I'm not saying it's a bad convention, but I will say in the past couple of years, it's gotten a lot worse. Not from like an organization standpoint. In that sense, they've upped their antics, thank God. But I mean, just from the experience of the people you're around, to the just the overcrowd, just to people like vendors being assholes and that whole thing. The first year I went, I had a great time. Again, I was a kid, so I didn't really have a. I'm gonna be real here. Well, back in high school, I was kind of naive, and I didn't really. I knew what money was, but I didn't really. I shouldn't say respect it, but I didn't really value it because my parents had set aside a lot of money for this convention that I didn't know about. So they were just kind of like, "Yeah, go wild crazy." And then as I got older, I realized. But some horror stories to talk about are, first of all, for the first, I'll say 3 years of going to Anime Expo, I didn't even know there was an artist alley. I didn't because it was in a separate part of the main hall, and Weeby New Me didn't know really anything. There weren't really good guidebooks, or people were assholes, that kind of thing. People are always assholes, but whatever. As the years went on, I discovered Artist Alley, and as I promised, this I've been talking for a couple minutes now. And I haven't gotten to the point. As an artist, even back then, I was drawing and stuff. I wasn't, excuse me, as serious as I am now, but I really took notice of how artists and people who ran artist booths acted, and I plan on running a booth. So I'm not. This is purely from the aspect of a consumer, a customer, who is also an artist, not not just some random Joe. Do you know what I mean? So my last year I went, besides this year, was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. I went to the artist alley with my friend Anna, Aerofx Dracona. I will plug her channel right here. Boom! There you go. And she and I went with her boyfriend for one day because at the time I was working and I only had the first day off, but I already had pre-bought the 4-day pass. Anime Expos that I know is also a longer convention. A lot of other anime conventions consist of like a day or a weekend. So this was also, a thing. I was used to the whole going 4 days. Anyway, when I went, I saved up a lot of money and I was working and I wanted to get commissions of my characters done. And I got almost everything right. Everything was good, but I remember there were certain booths and certain people who this was the first day of the convention. So this wasn't even the last day. Everybody's tired as fuck and they want to go home and they just want to sell their shit and leave day. This was the start of the convention. For a good reason. I don't know this guy's name, his username or whatever, but I saw his art and I know I had seen his art online and I really liked it and I asked him a couple of questions and he completely ignored me. Now this is the beginning of the convention. The artist alley was not that packed, and like he was ignoring me and just playing his 3DS and being a dick. And I asked him a question, and it wasn't like how much is your stuff. I asked him like, oh, how long did this take you? What mediums did you use? That kind of thing. And he did not look up from his 3DS. He just merely pointed to a sign with prices on it and said, "Here are the prices of my stuff." And I remember just being like, well, now I definitely don't want to buy from. I didn't say this, but I was like, well, I'm not going to buy from you now. Like, I understand if you don't want to ask questions or don't answer questions, but don't, you make eye contact. You be friendly. You be nice to people. And from what I heard from a couple other people, that one guy's booth, as well as a couple other people who were dicks, did the same thing. They were just kind of like, these are my prices. Don't ask me questions. Blah blah blah. Oh, I take commissions, but they're not worth it. That's another thing that made me mad. Was a lot of commissioners I got, their examples did not at all match what they were selling. Now, again, as an artist, I understand. You're making it same day, you're making it fast, you're probably taking a lot of other commissions to get them done this day, and, it's obviously not going to be of the best quality because, you're rushing. But then why is your example this great inked picture, but when I got my picture, it looked like a completely different artist had done it? The picture was still good, but so I'm not saying that, but it literally looked like a completely different artist in a completely different inking style had drawn the picture than the example that was shown for the commissions. That's not right. That's not good salesmanship because I found out later from my friends who went that said person was that people were asking for refunds because the example she was giving out didn't match. I mean, what she was giving out didn't match the example. And while most people say that sucks, part of me can't really blame them because you're lying about the product you're giving them. Now, again, people might say that that's rude, especially coming from an artist, but that's, this is from a selling point. These are from people who aren't artists who probably don't understand that, but then you should have an example of what a fast commission is like. Or have some pre-made original stuff to sell. I have seen lots of artists do that, or they have like they have YouTube channels. They're like, oh, this is the original 3-marker challenge I did for my speed paint. You can buy it for like a lot more than a commission. And they would sell, and I can understand that, but I can't understand lying about your examples. And another one was, I shouldn't say closing early, but I'm the kind of person to where when I run a booth, because I want to run a booth, I haven't decided if I'm going to do at booth commissions or not. I might, depending on if I don't get a lot of traffic, because I hear that they're just a good way to pass time. Is that I had this one commission from a person, and it wasn't that much. It might have been like $8. And their style was good, and it was cute, and it was worth $8, and I have to say that because there's some artists who undersell themselves and some artists who oversell themselves, but for $8, it was around the right price. And I told them, oh, I'm only going to be here one day, but my friends are going to be here a few more days. Can they pick it up like the next day? And she was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Now, I had originally thought, as well as my friends, that this person, this girl, was going to work on it when the convention closed, because that's what I would have done. That's what my friends would have done, is that we would do it when we get back and then have it ready the next day so we don't have to work on it. She did not touch my commission until the last day of the convention, and it was so rushed to the point I was so mad because she literally didn't even draw one of my character's hands. And it wasn't one of those poses where the hands are hiding. It was like, it was really cute. He was sitting, the male character was sitting, and my female character was kind of being like all cutesy on him. And I noticed, I'm like, wait a minute, his hands are fucking like the sleeve was colored in and everything, and it was all colored, but his hands were not fucking there. And I remember being like, what? That's a big mistake. You can't miss someone's hands. And that made me really fucking mad. To the point where I promised myself that this following year, I wasn't going to get commissions. I wasn't going to do it. I really wanted to, but I was just too many bad horror things. Another one was this one artist I kept going to the previous year. I went all 4 days. And she would sell out the second the con started. Which, again, I understand you're busy. That's great. I'm happy for you. But you should be getting them done when you leave so you can open the next day. And they weren't that detailed commissions, because I have gotten really nice, finished, beautiful, detailed commissions that are like thick black ink with backgrounds that understandably took hours, and I respected it, and I paid that a lot of money for them because I felt like that's what it was worth, and that's what the artist felt it was worth. So that wasn't it, but it's those people that give the other commissioners bad names. Because I had talked to a couple of other people who were saying that they don't do commissions anymore at conventions because of assholes, because of other artists who fucked it up for them, because they'll be like, oh, well, so-and-so never got my commission done, and they still never got it done, never mailed it to me, and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, artists get a bad rap. It's like artists who take money and run. That's another big thing, is I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I have been very slow the past, I'll say, about 2 months when it comes to... I've been getting videos out there, but for commissions, I haven't been on my A game. I've been depressed, and I've been stressed out, and as I made in my art block video, when I am stressed and depressed and I can't think, I just don't really art, and that's not professional, that's not proper, and that's not right. To the point where, again, a day's fine, but I was taking way too long, and that is my fault. I'm acknowledging that I fucked up. And now I'm working my ass off, and I'm back. I got my spark back, baby. And I've gotten 4 commissions done in the past 2 days, and that might not sound like a lot to some people, but to me, oh, it feels good again. It feels great. So, but it's artists like that give other artists bad name, and a lot of artists, that is their job. Their job is to work conventions. Their job is to sell art, to make their art. That is what they do. And if they're being bad at it, and there's no one to blame but themselves, then we had a problem here, because they're making a bad name for other people. And that's something I can't stand for. And again, I know this video might seem like it's all over the place, but it's kind of how I am. You guys know. I'm getting the hang of this. But I still love conventions. But another thing too is Anime Expo's getting so big that unless I work it, which is gonna be hard as it is, I probably won't go again for a year or two. I'll stick to some smaller cons, because even though there weren't that many stories here, I've had a lot of other stories with friends. I've seen a lot of other things, and vendors too, not just artists, but the vendors and people who also go to these conventions, who are assholes and just rude. And I'm a person where I have anxiety. I know a lot of people use it as like, I can't do anything with anxiety. And to people with severe anxiety, I feel you. I have really bad social anxiety. I can't do a lot of things by myself. I have to be like with a group of like really close friends or my fiance. And the amount of people that were there were really making me nervous. And I had fun, but I'm happy I only went 1 day. And I went with a family member and 2 really close friends. And I got to meet amazing Jackface and lots of other artists. I got to meet Jackface and Fish and Bacon and I know that Mortimer was there, and lots and lots and lots of other amazing people. So that was another really cool thing. But again, there's the stress of everything and being all around it wasn't really worth it. So there's a lot of other conventions that go around, and I'm gonna hopefully get to some of those in the future and see how those go out. Because yeah, and I feel like, and I've heard Comic-Con is the same thing now. It's just so big that people don't really have fun like they used to. And another thing too is like, I'm again, I'm not a diehard anime fan like I used to be, so I didn't really go to panels. I didn't really do much of that. I didn't cosplay, so I didn't go to meet and greets. And like, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. You can do at conventions. I just, yeah. Well, I'm kind of rambling here, so I think I'm gonna end it here and just let music take it over for the finished rest of the video. And I will see you guys next week. And bye.